Guys, three bold takes. As you can see, we have decided to do a little bit of a rebrand here. We've got some new graphics, some new logos. We're going college football only now. That's a decision that we decided to make that would be best for the channel. So thank you guys for supporting that, and looking forward to giving you college football content moving forward. Today we have a special guest for our reactions here, Jackson Carter, aka Squish. Um,
Chris.
is one of our longtime listener buds, if you will, from back at our Three Bold Takes days, or actually, excuse me, Talking Heads days. Wow, confusing my own self here. So Squish, glad to have you on. Thanks for jumping on here.
Y'all welcome.
So now we move on to the Alabama Crimson Tide and their quarterback issues here. This is what I wanted to bring up because I almost had a heart attack, stroke, you name it. I almost had it on Saturday playing against USF, not even UCF in the Big 12, USF, the American team. 17-9 or 17-3 rather, excuse me, was the final in that game. And you want to talk about quarterback issues. We just got done talking about Notre Dame and Sam Hartman and how amazing they look with him. Well, Alabama decided to start the the trash can that transferred from Notre Dame to Alabama by the name of Tyler Buckner, who went 5 of 14 for like 40-something yards or whatever it was. Just an absolutely piss-poor performance from Tyler Buckner in that game. And, I had mentioned last week that he was taking reps with the first team, and I got a little excited. I can't lie to you, I got a little excited. And then when I saw that man trot out on the field and play the first couple series, I was like, this ain't it. He ain't the guy. Then I was calling for Ty Simpson. He came in, and guess what? When he came in, we scored 2 touchdowns with him. Now, can't really accredit it all to him because he didn't have a passing touchdown. He did have a rushing touchdown at the end of the game, a little quarterback sneak. But looked like the offense flowed a little bit better. So there's going to be some questions coming next weekend, or actually this coming weekend, and we're going to talk about this game. Alabama and Ole Miss play. So big decision to make at quarterback, whether you go Jalen Milroe or Ty Simpson. I think Buckner needs to just go ahead and enter the transfer portal once again. He is a sophomore, which, for him, that's good news because you can go somewhere else and keep playing. But it was just a piss-poor performance. A rain delay? I've never been a part of a rain delay in an Alabama game, like watching. So that was a first for me. And ABC, you need to get your crap together on your coverages because whatever camera situation they had going on was embarrassing for a broadcast like ABC. So I just kind of wanted to start that one off, and then I want to hear what you guys have to say about it, and then I'll kind of wrap it up. So let's go ahead and move on over to Squish, our guest in this episode. Walk me through this Alabama USF game. I know you're an Auburn fan, so.
No. Get it right. I'm a Mississippi State fan.
That's
now,
right.
We had a terrible performance yesterday. That's for a different story. So when I say Alabama has quarterback troubles, to me, I love it because they're not having the cycle of quarterbacks that are now NFL starters. Last time I checked, everyone's eligibility is up. So you're not seeing a Jalen Hurts, a Tua, a Mac Jones, or Bryce Young coming trotting through that door. So let me just say, Alabama knew they had Jalen Milroe as a quarterback, and Texas game he did, and okay. But then they decided to go transfer portal route, which that's what you chose out of the transfer portal. That was your best option. Like, there is so many different quarterbacks that could have been selected. The last time I checked, you have a former starter that may be some type of offensive Ole Miss, Sanders, sitting on the bench right now. He could have been a better option. You have Sam Hartman, who is at Notre Dame showing off right now. Alabama fans are probably like, man, that would have been a good option to have. Devin Leary at Kentucky was also in the transfer portal. There's multiple quarterbacks that Alabama could have got. They chose Tyler Buckner. He started 3 games last year at Notre Dame, and people were like, well, his offensive coordinator's there. Last time I checked, It normally takes about 2 years for a quarterback to get in the system to find his rhythm if he's a decent quarterback. Good quarterbacks, plop them in, they know what they're doing. This Alabama quarterback struggle is just something I've never seen at Alabama. I mean, early 2000s when they haven't had a quarterback that's decent, even those 14 to 15 teams that really didn't have a quarterback or is coming off like with Blake Sims and all them, those are game management quarterbacks, but the defense picked it up. Alabama, I hate to say it, I know y'all are Alabama fans, you fall off the wagon a little bit. The, the wheels are starting to fall off, and someone's going to have to right that ship because last time I checked, Saban's not getting any younger. These coordinators, I don't know what they're thinking, but Alabama does not have a quarterback on that roster right now that can speak up and make plays. Like, it's just something else. I've never seen it at Alabama. Not having a quarterback, I mean, it's just something different. Now, being said, you have these different schools that bring in these transfer quarterbacks and have these quarterbacks in their system, and they're doing decent. But Alabama, when you think Alabama, you think of top star talent. Last time I checked, I had this joke running. When a 5-star leaves Alabama, there's a 5-star replacement. The quarterback situation, there may be a 5-star, but is he truly a 5-star talent? Because last time I checked, those 3 quarterbacks at Alabama, they can go down the road and start at UAB and actually be decent. Because at Alabama, it's not cutting it.
I can't disagree. Now, the one place where I'll point out that things are a little different, it's not necessarily that we haven't seen this kind of quarterback play at Alabama. I'd argue you have. Jake Coker wasn't anything special. Blake Sims wasn't anything special. Both of them won the SEC. What I think makes it insanely different, though, is I've never seen bad quarterback play paired with poor offensive line play. This offensive line is really bad, and they were super hyped up in the offseason. They can't protect nothing. And, the big debate is, do you go Jalen Milroe or do you go Ty Simpson? I think Tyler Buckner will be forgotten about for the rest of time. No one's ever going to bring his name back up to come and play in a football game. They both have their pros. They both have their cons. I'll start with Milroe. I think your pros with Milroe, I think he's more capable of being a game changer than Ty Simpson with his legs. What I saw in the USF game from Ty Simpson as far as a passing goes, I don't think he's necessarily going to make more explosive pass plays than Milroe would. What I will give him as his plus is I think he's going to be less prone to turning the ball over. I think Milroe has a turnover problem. So when you look at those 2 quarterbacks, what you're debating between is but to counter that would be Simpson, he's young and you can see it. There is not whereas Milroe might run out of the pocket too soon, Simpson don't move. He just takes sacks. In the USF game, they had no sacks until Ty Simpson got in the game. And then they had 4 or 5 against Ty Simpson. So, and I personally, I don't think there's anything that's going to necessarily fix this issue. I think the only thing that could fix it is an improved offensive line play. And until I see it, I'm not going to believe it. You struggled to block against Middle Tennessee State and South Florida. And as good as I think Texas actually is, you struggled to block against Texas's front 7, which is not going to be the best front 7 you see this year. LSU's on your schedule. Texas A&M's on your schedule. Whether you think Mississippi State or Ole Miss or Auburn are threats, their front 7s are going to be legit. You're playing in the Southeastern Conference where all the teams turn out NFL talent every year on the front 7. If I'm Alabama, I'm starting to worry about the whole streak of how many years now has it been? I think it's 15 straight years of double-digit win seasons. That's in jeopardy. I'm in serious jeopardy. And if I was to have to bet right now on whether or not, say the over-under was 9.5, I'm going to take the under at this exact moment.
Yeah, for me, I think
I didn't really get to watch the game. I was working the MT game the whole time. The only thing that made this game good though is I was showing my friends on the sidelines, hey, Alabama is only up, 10-3 right now. I was standing next to a Tennessee fan at the time, so it made it a lot better that we were winning and they weren't. So I actually ended up having a good night. He didn't. So my biggest thing is like it's 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 not even you got the quarterbacks, you got the line, right? But it's going back to coaching for me. Freddie Roach and then also Eric Wolford. I think that's the last year we had a team. We had a good team. But Bill O'Brien couldn't call an offensive play to help the guys that were in there. Like when Bryce Young went down and Jalen Milroe had to come in, Bill O'Brien couldn't call a play for Jalen Milroe. He was doing it for Bryce Young, stuff like that. And then you also had Pete Golding, who couldn't call the right defensive scheme to save his life. So we got rid of those guys and replaced them, in which I don't think these guys are doing a terrible job. They're still getting used to the Alabama standard, getting used to being in Alabama. But now it's on the defensive line, the offensive line coach. I think that's who you got to look at next. These guys, the defensive line, dude. We still have some really good defensive line guys. And to not be getting pressured, definitely against Texas, not be getting pressured, not having any hurries or quarterback pressures, anything like that, that is just absurd to me with the amount of talent that comes through that defensive line room, first of all. And second off, these guys, this offensive line group, they have been hyped up. They're all like 350 pounds plus, man. But, dude, if they can't move side to side quick enough to get these smaller defenders blocked, to pick up extra blocks, to know where they need to go in pass protection, man, then what are we doing? Like, look, I love the Jalen Milroe legs part, but, man, like it can only do so much when the kid's running for his life and is scared because he's got to run even more than he has to. And so you can't really look at a quarterback, honestly. You can't even look at the offensive scheme because you're not getting to see the perfect picture of it because this offensive line has been so bad, because that defensive line has been so bad. You don't really get to see the schemes from either coordinator so far. So the quarterback situation, I'm still going to ride with Ty Simpson. I think it's Ty Simpson. I think he has the chance to come in and do something. I think Jalen Milroe, he's just a one-read guy, going to be a turnover guy, but he has his legs. Ty Simpson doesn't have that. I'm still going to ride with Ty Simpson, but it's all going to come down to this next week. I feel like Jalen Milroe is going to start against Ole Miss again, but I think Ty Simpson is going to find a way to get into this game as well, and both of them will get a half or a quarter or whatever, because we got to solidify the quarterback position. Freddie?
Yeah, I got a question real quick. Chase, Freddie, I know y'all are both Ty Simpson guys, correct?
Yeah, talk to me.
Yeah, and then I want to hear real quick from Squish. Where do you sit on this Ty Simpson, Jalen Milroe debate? Just if you had to pick a starter, and then I'll leave.
For me, watching Alabama football is something different for me because I'm just over here on the sideline.
Yeah,
I see the talent in Ty Simpson. To be a 5-star is being a 5-star, but game time talks. Jalen Milroe may have to do something special. To me, at this point, it's a toss-up who you're going to play because you have to think about the defense you're facing. Now, I'm not with this 2-quarterback system. Pick a starter, put all your faith in him, and let him take that team. Because when it comes in the locker room, your receivers and everything, your linemen, they had their opinion. They prefer probably one guy over another. They don't like to say it because that ruins team morale.
Yeah.
But yet, pick a starter. Let him. It has to go buy lunch with the lineman one day to make sure that continuity's there. Because at the end of the day, the quarterback looks good, the line looks good. Quarterback looks good, receivers and running backs. So I just think it's a toss-up between what your poison.
I'll say this: the one fear I have to pick Ty Simpson as a starter, given the offensive line's bad pass pro and his lack of feel for a pocket, is what do you do to his long-term comfortability in a pocket? Do you make him start seeing ghosts for the rest of his career and ruin what actually looks like a good talent? That would be my one fear for starting Ty Simpson long-term. Just something to put out there.
I think that's horse crap. To think that personally, and when I look at when Ty Simpson was in the game, the offensive line looked like they played harder when he was in the game. Now, that doesn't mean they played better, but it looked like they gave more effort. I saw something at the very end of that game that I have not seen through 3 games or even, honestly, in a long time, Alabama. An offensive lineman buried a D lineman from USF until after the whistle blew, the pile was getting up, and he was still pushing him into the ground. And that's something that we didn't see last 2 weeks or even half the year last year, but I finally saw it the last weekend, and I think it was the last drive actually when Ty Simpson did score that touchdown. And so for something like that, for me, that gives me hope that maybe if they do go Ty Simpson, the offensive line will rally around him with the idea that he is a freshman. Like, let's keep that in our mind here. And I think this is a decision that you make for the future. Not to say that this year is a wash by any stretch of the imagination, because you're still Alabama and you still have a standard of winning 10-plus games, playoffs, SEC, all that stuff. But I think there's more upside with Ty Simpson than there is Jalen Milroe, because I think you can teach pocket presence a little bit more and that internal clock with more experience than you can make somebody more accurate. Short, long, or, intermediate, it doesn't matter. Plus, I think Ty Simpson's legs are a little underrated. My boy got some moves, and he's got some sneaky speed as well. So I'm a Ty Simpson guy myself. I love Jalen Milroe though. Like, I don't want people to just like throw him under the bus and say he should just quit playing football and just all these death threats and racist stuff. Like, there's no need for that in the game of college football, period. Or in the world today, period. So just because a kid doesn't play or isn't as good as we think he is does not mean that he's that lesser of a human being. So it's another thing that we have to remember, because there's a lot of people that are talking very, very negative about him. But Ty Simpson's my guy. Obviously, Chase, I guess yours is Ty Simpson too.
Yeah. I mean, I like Ty a lot more just because like I've seen what Milroe can do, and I've heard a lot about Simpson, so I guess that's why I'm more intrigued that way. But I've watched the several games Milroe has started and played, and it's just the same thing over and over again. I haven't seen much development. I haven't seen much change in his pace of play. And unless Tommy Rees says, you know what, guys, throw out the playbook, we're going to make a whole new one for Jalen Milroe as our quarterback, then I'll buy in more. But Bill O'Brien nor Tommy Rees has decided we're going to go in with a running first quarterback, a Lamar Jackson-esque, a Kyler Murray-esque guy, and let him play to his strengths. They're not playing to his strengths. They're just making him run because the offensive line sucks. And so it looks like it's more set up for a Jake Coker, A.J. McCarron type guy that's a Notre Dame quarterback, an Ian Book, a Jack Cohn, those kind of guys. And that's what we're looking at. And that's what Ty Simpson looks at, just hopefully has more talent.
Well, we've seen that firsthand, and his name is Tyler Buckner, and I don't want that.
No, God, no.
So, I did want to mention this real quick here. I know we're up on time, but while I've got you, Squish, you said something about the wheels falling off and Saban not getting younger. I don't 100% disagree with you. Not that the wheels are falling off, but the University of Alabama and Coach Saban, I don't think it's a destination job for coordinators anymore. Used to, Saban could hand pick his staff on who he wanted. Didn't matter where they were leaving and coming to Alabama. We had former head coaches that have been fired that were begging for analyst jobs on the field. I don't see that anymore in the world of college football. Now, that's not to shoot Nick Saban down. That's not to shoot Alabama down. That's just a fact. I think that time of having the amazing coordinators is gone for the University of Alabama, and they're going to have to find those young and up-and-coming guys, which he's trying to do with Tommy Rees. Don't know why they got Kevin Steele. I don't know. I don't know. Old fart, old system. It just does not. It's not working. So I just thought that was interesting to bring up, Squish, along with what you said about the wheels falling off there.
Yeah, that's
So-
the thing about Alabama. You have these coordinators that come in, and the big ones right now that have made themselves Kirby Smart, Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss that Alabama's playing this week. The coordinators just, it's not like I'm a coordinator, I'm going to Bama to show my stuff. No, there's different places. Like you have a Garrett Riley that went from TCU to Clemson. Like he proved. I mean, and there's different coaches that are these coordinators that they get a chance to be head coach, they're beating it. My dogs right now, Mississippi State, after the passing of the late great Mike Leach, what do? The defensive coordinator up, Zach Arnett. He's a young defensive coordinator, turned head coach. But you have these different coordinators that are coming out of the woodworks that if they get to a place like Alabama or a Texas or something, they need to show out. Because last night, I think they said the youngest defensive coordinator in college football is at Florida, 30 years old. Now, if I'm Nick Saban, maybe calling that dude up, because last time I watched that Florida game, they took it to Tennessee. They were in that quarterback's Milton's face all night. They had pressure on him. And these coordinators that have been coordinators for long, they're losing their touch just a little bit. Now, Kevin Steele may have been great at Auburn and I think like a Miami, but these young coordinators are coming out of the woodworks. Saban may need to be like, yeah, I'll choose you over there because what you did at this level of football was good. Imagine what you can do with the talent at Bama.
Yeah. So I agree about everything that you guys have said so far. That has been our reactions from the week 3 of college football. Swish, I want to thank you for coming on. You've been the second guest, guys. We're doing this week after week. We're having a new guest every week to talk reactions, to kind of get some fan engagement. So, Squish, I appreciate you joining in. Quinn and Chase.
Y'all welcome.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate your love and support as well. Chase and Quinn, as always, it's been Freddie, 3 bold takes. We are out.